In 1960, there were just about 3 billion people worldwide. And here it's now 2019, and that number has skyrocketed to somewhere around 7.5 billion. With such a staggering population, it can be hard to think of humanity as individual people rather than one giant mob. But numbers aren't everything. Throughout our history, there have been men and women who've stood out from the crowd. From the most enduring man in the world to a woman with supervision. Here are 10 of the most insane people in the world. The Energizer Bunny. For most people, finishing a marathon would be an exhausting accomplishment, but not for the most enduring man in the world. James Lawrence is being touted as the most enduring man alive for completing a mind-blowing 50 Ironman races in 50 days across 50 states. In case you didn't know, an Ironman race isn't your average bit of running. It's a triathlon. This is a 2.4-mile swim, followed by a 112-mile bike ride, and ending with a little over 26-mile jog. Lawrence didn't do that once or twice. He did it once a day for 50 consecutive days while traveling across the country. That's 6 hours on a bike and 3 to 4 hours running. The swim portion alone takes a usual 2 hours and 20 minutes, followed by however long it took to get to the next one, only for the process to be repeated again. These races are so intense that most people would collapse after the first, or maybe 2 at the most. But Lawrence kept right on going for a month and a half. Monsieur Mangitao. Michel Lotito was a French entertainer known for his voracious appetite. But he wasn't your average hot dog gobbling competitor. Lotito made a name for himself wowing crowds when he'd wolf down objects that would kill your average human. This includes bikes, a shopping cart, a chandelier, and even a coffin. He started eating odd objects when he was just a kid and began performing publicly in 1966 at the age of 16. His odd hunger for inedible objects was due to a disorder known commonly as pica. But there was something extra strange about Lotito. Doctors discovered that he had an unusually thick stomach lining and stronger than average stomach acid. He wasn't just eating all these strange objects. His stomach was actually digesting things an ordinary stomach wouldn't. In fact, one of his more famous, if not incredibly crazy meals was a Cessna plane that he ate in pieces over his lifetime. His diet was surprising to many people. However, he died on June 25, 2007 at just 57 years old, which might not come as a surprise at all. The Mega Savant. Have you ever followed a car with one of those stickers on it? The ones that say something like, "My golden retriever is smarter than your honor student." Well, we're willing to bet that neither of them is as smart as Kim Peek, who is what is known as a mega savant. Originally diagnosed with autism, Peek was a big part of the inspiration behind the Oscar-winning movie Rain Man. He had an incredible memory and remembered every book he ever read. He stunned scientists and behavioral experts alike by being able to call up exact passages from hundreds of books. He could call up the finer points of British monarchs, zip codes, and TV programs. He even remembered the composition details of classical music. According to his father, Peek could already quote books read to him by the age of 16 months and would have an entire book memorized in a single read. By age 3, he was using his incredible mind to look up words in the dictionary. Once a book was done, he'd flip it upside down to mark his completion of it, and he continued this habit throughout his life. Eagle eyes. The term eagle-eyed is meant to describe someone with exceptional vision, but it's usually used more figuratively. For Veronica Cedar, however, it just might be literal. Cedar has gained international attention for her far above average eyesight. The average person has 20/20 vision and can see about 20 feet ahead of them with perfect clarity, if there are no obstructions. Cedar's vision, on the other hand, was measured at 22, and she could see the same level of detail up to a mile away. For the record, a mile, or 1.6 kilometers, is 5,280 feet, That's 26 times the distance a normal human can see. She could even pick out people and details at distances where everyone else would barely distinguish colors. And speaking of color, she could reportedly see so well that when she was watching TV, she could see the individual pixels of color on the screen. Imagine how much cooler The Big Bang Theory would have been if you saw all the parts that Sheldon is made of. Flexi Girl. These days, the average person can barely touch their toes. But even the most limber of yoga instructors pales in comparison to Sophie Dossi. Already an Instagram superstar at the tender age of 15, Dossi is being hailed as the most flexible human being alive. This young gymnast/trapeze artist is known for some crazy stuff. Not only can she curl up over herself backward to pour tea with her feet, but she can also paint her own toenails. She's also incredibly strong and has done multiple stunts while balancing her entire body on a wooden block or even another person's head. She also plays the guitar and can even perform archery with her feet while balancing on a flimsy pole. That particular stunt is a crowd favorite during her private performances. With all this showbiz bending, it's a miracle she has time for regular things like homework or hanging out with her friends. The strongest man in the world. We all have that one person we know who spends their every waking moment at the gym. But no matter how hard they try, they'll never be as strong as the strongest man in the world. Louis Cyr was a 5'10" French-Canadian man with the gut of a beer enthusiast and a body that looked more like a couch potato than a serious athlete. He was large even as a child, reportedly weighing nearly 18 pounds at birth and weighed 400 pounds by the time he was done competing. It's not the body type you'd expect when you imagine the strongest man in the world, but Cyr was insanely strong. He stunned the crowds at age 17 when he lifted an actual horse clean off the ground. He continued to display his crazy strength by squatting a platform with 18 fully grown men standing on it and lifting a 218 barbell with one hand. He was also supposedly recorded to have lifted a 500-pound weight with one finger. But his most famous stunt happened on October 12, 1891, when he held back a team of 4 draft horses. The oldest man in the world. You're only as old as you feel. If the popular saying is true, then the oldest man in the world must be just a spring chicken. Suleiman Al-Moul is from Hekerhanen in Lebanon's northern Akkar district, and he holds the title of world's oldest man at over 11 decades in age. Since birth records were spotty at best in his childhood, he's either 115 or 117 years old. Regardless, either age earns him the oldest man title, and Suleiman attributes his longevity on hard work, good food, and plenty of rest. As crazy as it sounds, Suleiman is actually still working at home on the farm. He starts his day at 5 in the morning and works for hours on end without a break before taking a well-earned nap and enjoying a meal with his extensive family. In fact, Suleiman has over 300 descendants, with 12 children under his belt. The oldest is 75, while the youngest is only 5. This man, more than a century old, isn't just still alive and working a harder day work than your average American. He sired a child at least 100 years old. Child prodigy. They say that the brain is like an elastic sponge. The more you use it, the better it works. So maybe the fact that South Korean professor Kim Eung-yong was born to 2 professor parents had a lot to do with the incredible intelligence he displayed as a child. By age 1, he knew the entire Korean alphabet as well as 1,000 Chinese characters. By age 3, he was solving complicated calculus problems and publishing essays in foreign languages. By age 5, he could speak 5 languages and was beginning high school. At age 8, he started college and ended up with a job working for NASA. He spent 10 years working for the space program before burning out and returning home. He went on to teach physics at a college level and is very happy with the way his life turned out. Venom Man. Snakes. Some people love them, some people hate them, but Tim Fried, affectionately known as Venom Man, is obsessed with them. He's so obsessed, in fact, that he's reportedly made himself immune to snake venom by intentionally allowing deadly snakes to bite him repeatedly. When was the last time you let a rattlesnake take a pot shot at you for science? There are plenty who think Fried is just plain crazy, but he does have his supporters among the scientific community. In fact, there are a few doctors studying Fried's freakish tolerance to snake venom. He frequently lets snakes that could kill a person with one strike bite him over and over again. The reason he's still alive is that he really does have higher levels of antibodies against snake venom. Studying how his body reacts to various toxins is helping doctors learn more about how they can treat others. The Last Samurai. Isao Machi is the kind of man who could have chopped his way straight out of a Hollywood movie. He picked up a sword at age 5 and he's never looked back. Now the holder of several Guinness World Records, his skills with the sword has pushed him into international attention. Machi is famous for cutting various objects in half, from melons to tennis balls. He doesn't need to see the target to sense where it will be. In fact, he is most renowned for his ability to split a tiny BB in two with just a sword and his instinctual spatial awareness. Those who have observed this trick report that they couldn't have cut the BB in half even if it were sitting still. Yet Machi performs the task like it's nothing, claiming his school is due to finely honed instincts. That concludes our list of 10 insane people in the world. What did you think? Which person do you think was the most interesting? Let us know in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell for a chance to be the first one notified whenever we post new content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.